Every so often, uncertainty forces us to question who we are and where we want to go. Difficulty faces us with a fundamental question. What can we trust? For Costa Rica, the answer is in our own history, one that will help us take a leap into the future. We believe in who we are so that the world may trust us. We put our trust in life balanced with nature. This is how we managed to grow back our rainforest, to protect over a quarter of our territory, and to produce all of our own energy through renewable sources. Our wit continues to source the world with thousands of products with great added value. We are leaders in innovation in Latin America because we believe in our talent. We invest in infrastructure and international agreements so that we can access any corner of the world effectively and safely. When we abolished our military, we focused on our stability, solidarity, and peace. We believe in the well-being of our people and in the constant effort to build a respectful, diverse, and vigorous country. We know we are prepared for any challenge because we trust in what we have accomplished so far. Because when the world becomes grey, we will continue fighting for a greener and more just future. When you find yourself wondering, who can we trust? Our answer will always be Costa Rica.
Prime Minister of Ukraine, dear Dennis, a very warm welcome to the OECD, ministers, excellencies, distinguished guests, delegates, friends all. A very warm welcome to you all to this, the 2025 Ministerial Council meeting of the OECD. Leading the way towards resilient, inclusive and sustainable prosperity through rules-based trade, investment and innovation. The theme of this year's MCM goes to the core of our mission as your organisation for economic cooperation and development. As we gather here today, the world stands at an inflection point. The global economy is more interconnected and more interdependent than ever. The need to work together and find solutions together to the challenges of our time is more important than ever. And after a period of remarkable global economic resilience in recent years, the global economic outlook has become more challenging. Despite a series of external shocks from COVID to the economic and social impacts of Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, the energy crisis and the period of high inflation that followed, rising geopolitical tensions and more, in all of the circumstances, the global economy continued to grow at a comparatively healthy rate of above 3%. However, as we are meeting here today, the outlook for the global economy and the outlook for growth across most economies around the world has become more subdued. Earlier today, we released our economic outlook, projecting global growth to fall below 3%, for inflation to decline more slowly. And the context is the significantly increased economic and trade policy uncertainty, tighter financial conditions, lower business and consumer confidence, and the impact it has on investment and activity that we're observing, which has led to this downgrade in our economic growth outlook. And all of that, of course, against the background of continued structural challenges and transformations. Low productivity growth and rising trade restrictions are leading to a lower economic growth trajectory if left unaddressed. We need to better prepare for the economic, social and fiscal impacts of population ageing, including by accelerating and strengthening our efforts to boost economic performance through the more ambitious pursuit of genuine gender equality. We need to keep focusing on tackling the challenges and opportunities associated with climate change in a globally more coherent and effective way together. We need to give ourselves the best chance to seize all the many exciting benefits for humanity of the digital transformation and AI, while better managing some of the associated risks and disruptions. And we need to find better ways to make our global rules-based trading system fairer and work better, to tackle unfair trade practices, boost economic security and improve supply chain resilience in a way that helps us preserve the well-established economic benefits of open markets and rules-based global trade. Colleagues, we need to talk. We need to find ways to solve issues through dialogue and cooperation. And I know you agree, because you have come to this Ministerial Council meeting in record numbers, at least during my time in this job. This Ministerial Council meeting has assembled the largest number of senior ministers from across our membership and beyond yet during my time in this job. There is clearly a strong appetite to have the necessary conversations on a better way forward. And this MCM is a very important opportunity for OECD members and our partner countries to engage about the best ways forward, including and especially about how to restore economic and trade policy certainty through dialogue and cooperation. We know that it would deliver immediate economic and social dividends in terms of stronger growth, better opportunities for people around the world, and our capacity to concentrate on successfully tackling all the other challenges in front of us, leading the way back towards resilient, inclusive and sustainable prosperity through rules-based trade, investment and innovation. Here at the OECD, we will continue to support you. We provide the objective data and analysis across the economic, social and environmental policy spectrum to help inform your discussions and to help inform your decisions. Importantly, we provide a trusted platform for the multilateral dialogue the world needs you to have. And over the next 2 days, I strongly encourage you to have as many bilateral and multilateral conversations in informal and formal settings as you possibly can to try and find the best ways forward. At this year's Ministerial Council meeting, you will also have the opportunity to further strengthen the rules-based system together. You will have the opportunity to welcome a new recommendation on eliminating government support to illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, which will foster a more level playing field for sustainable fishing practices and ensure a future for our shared fisheries resources in the years to come. You will consider adopting a revised recommendation on merger reviews to help ensure our competition law and policy frameworks are as effective as we need them to be in protecting competition and ultimately encouraging business dynamism and innovation in our economies. And you will discuss adopting a new recommendation on digital technologies and the environment to harness their potential for greater sustainability and efficiency, while better managing their impacts, including energy use and electronics waste. You will consider the OECD's latest evidence-based insights on supply chain resilience, trade, gender data and gender equality, foreign direct investment and climate. And you will provide guidance on the way forward for an AI policy toolkit to support policymakers in implementing our landmark AI principles. And you will shape the OECD's efforts to further advance our global engagement, which is truly fundamental to our organization's continued relevance, effectiveness and impact, and indeed a testament to the continuing interests of countries around the world to engage and adhere to our standards and best practices. This includes taking stock of our accession processes with a record 8 candidate countries, including Indonesia, which is submitting its initial memorandum at this MCM later today, a major milestone in their accession journey. To deepen our engagement with Latin America and the Caribbean, a region of extraordinary human and natural potential and home to 4 of our members and 3 accession candidates and many more important partners, you will discuss a new strategic framework and a new Paraguay country program, and you will also take stock of the very significant progress made under the Ukraine country program in areas ranging from energy sector reform to a substantially strengthened anti-corruption and integrity framework. And Prime Minister, dear Dennis, thank you again for joining us today to demonstrate your continuing strong commitment to deepening engagement with the OECD. And thank you in particular for your strong personal leadership in pursuing the increased alignment of Ukraine's legislation, policies and practices with OECD standards and best practices. We continue to stand with the people of Ukraine in your pursuit of a bright, peaceful, prosperous and European future. Colleagues, at last year's Ministerial Council meeting, ministers also gave us the mandate to start developing a new OECD strategy on development. During this Ministerial Council meeting, you will have the opportunity to consider my update on our collective progress towards finalizing that strategy, including the broad and inclusive consultations we have conducted with our partner countries and stakeholders, with OECD key partners, accession candidate countries, business and labour representatives, philanthropy, as well as international and civil society organisations. These consultations have provided a valuable opportunity to exchange, to learn from and build trust with a broad range of partner countries and stakeholders, to help shape the future direction of the OECD's work on development. Looking ahead, we must continue to advance a whole of OECD approach to ensure our organisation remains relevant and impactful, in fact improves our relevance and impact when it comes to responding to the needs of a diversity of country contexts and complex development challenges. We will continue to engage on the development strategy by ensuring outcomes of the upcoming Financing for Development Conference in Seville and other international events in 2025 are appropriately reflected in our work. In closing, the next 2 days are an opportunity for open and, yes, very frank, but most of all, constructive, pragmatic and solutions-oriented dialogue. I am so much looking forward to our discussions over these next few days, to your insights and contributions, as you shape the direction of this organisation, your organisation, for the year ahead, advancing new, impactful tools for effective policy cooperation and working together to build a better future. Excellencies, colleagues, friends, we will now hear an introductory message from the President of Costa Rica, Rodrigo Chavez Robles, but very warm welcome, and this MCM is now being officially opened. Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, As President of the Republic of Costa Rica, I feel a great honor and pride to welcome you to the 2025 OECD Ministerial Council meeting. Just a few years ago, Costa Rica was the newcomer in this organization, the new kid in the block. Today, we have the privilege of chairing this important gathering for the future of our economies, and especially our democracies. And we do so with humility, yes, but also with our heads held very high, because this moment confirms something very clearly. When a country commits to excellence, to transparency, and to purposeful development, results must follow. I extend my deepest thanks to our partners in this presidency, Australia, Canada, and Lithuania. I thank you for your leadership and vision. From afar, thank you for walking this path alongside with us. This forum should not be a stage for just polished speeches. It must be a platform for action. And Costa Rica comes here to speak clearly. We believe in the power of international cooperation grounded in rules, in evidence, and in shared values. Freedom, democracy, the rule of law, and human rights are not diplomatic ornaments or just beautiful words. They are the pillars upon which we need to build our societies. And if we don't protect them with determination, the world's tremors can shake the very foundations of our societies. Because growth is meaningless if it is not shared widely among all members of society. Our common goal must be just one: to improve people's lives through better distribution of opportunities, to give every member of our societies the opportunity to prosper and to develop as a human being. That's why the priority of this forum must be to push for solutions to key challenges such as economic security, resilient supply chains, women's empowerment, the empowerment of every citizen, and the transition to digital and sustainable economies. And if that requires bold decisions, even uncomfortable ones, then so it must be. Because if we have learned anything, it's this: true transformation does not come from cozy consensus. It comes from disruption. It needs courage, bold action. This ministerial meeting should not be just another photo for the archives. Its theme, charting the path to resilient, inclusive, and sustainable prosperity through rules-based trade, investment, and innovation, cannot remain just a long slogan. It must become a roadmap, a commitment, the plan for action in order to achieve shared prosperity among nations and within nations. We are here to build with decisive action and to lead with clarity and purpose. The world needs us united, cooperating instead of competing against one another. The OECD must stay the course. It must remain the guiding light that helps governments think better, serve better, and be held accountable to their citizens, but also to the rest of the world. I thank Mathias Cormann for his leadership, and each of you for placing your trust in Costa Rica in delivering this important responsibility. Let us be ambitious, let us be bold, and above all, let us remain faithful to the people who elected us to serve them. Thank you very much. May God bless you all.
We now invite the Chair, Minister of Foreign Trade of Costa Rica, Mr. Manuel Tovar, to the far post.
Le secrétaire général de l'OCDE, Mathias Cormann, Monsieur le Premier ministre de l'Ukraine, Denis Shmyhal, Monsieur, Mesdames les ministres, Excellences, chers amis. C'est avec gratitude et un profond sens de responsabilité que j'inaugure la 64e réunion du Conseil de l'OCDE au niveau des ministres, accompagné par l'Australie, le Canada et la Lituanie en tant que vice-président. Je tiens à saluer le leadership visionnaire du Monsieur le secrétaire général, Mathias Cormann, dont l'engagement constant renforce le rôle de l'OCDE en tant que pilier de la coopération internationale. Seulement 4 ans après l'adhésion du Costa Rica à cette organisation remarquable, me tenir devant vous aujourd'hui me rappelle que l'histoire est quelque chose que l'on façonne. À notre époque, marquée par les incertitudes et les tensions, ces moments témoignent de notre capacité à nous rassembler autour des valeurs communes dans un esprit d'unité, de convergence et d'engagement partagé. En ce lieu, au cœur de Paris, nous avons l'opportunité de démontrer que la coopération internationale n'est pas une ambition lointaine, mais une réalité que nous construisons ensemble. Ici, à l'OCDE, nous faisons le choix du dialogue et de la coopération. Dans un contexte mondial complexe, nous affirmons avec conviction que l'écoute, la solidarité et l'action collective conservent toutes leurs valeurs. Nous restons convaincus que l'écoute, la solidarité et l'action collective demeurent plus essentielles que jamais. Et face aux défis qui l'interpellent, le multilatéralisme, nous renouvelons notre engagement à le faire vivre, à l'adapter et à la renforcer au service de nos sociétés et générations futures. Dear friends, we're living through times that test not only our economies, but our values, our cohesion, our shared vision for the future. Around us blow the winds of geopolitical tensions, economic disruptions, climate change, and an accelerating tide of digital transformation. In the shadow of conflicts, including Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine and other volatile dynamics across the globe, the answer is not to turn inward, but to come together. We must stand and remain united. This is why we come here together at the OECD. This organization stands as a force for transformation, a source of clarity, a driver of solutions, and a pillar of trust. It reminds us that dialogue works, that evidence matters, and that consensus is still possible and still powerful. As George Marshall once warned us, the world situation is very serious. These words apply today, and so does the underlying call to not despair, but to lead. At this turning point, we must be wise and courageous. This year, we propose the theme, leading the way toward resilient, inclusive, and sustainable prosperity through rules-based trade, investment and innovation. Costa Rica believes that the future is not something to be awaited, but something to be built through sound policy, open dialogue, bold ideas, and shared responsibility. To enhance the resilience of our economies, we must strengthen their ability to better withstand shocks and mitigate risks by fostering policies that prioritize and promote diversification and sophistication. Through the OECD, a strong advocate for enhanced economic integration, we must actively contribute to shaping an open, rules-based, and fair multilateral trading system with the WTO at its core. We do so by fostering dialogue, promoting cooperation, and ensuring a level playing field so that the benefits of trade are more widely shared. Resilience requires a strengthened international economic order, advanced through both multilateral and plurilateral approaches. We are at a critical moment in global trade and investment, shaped by the transformative forces of digital technologies and AI. These innovations present immense opportunities for inclusive growth and development, while also demanding coordinated action to address the digital divide. The OECD plays a critical role in guiding the responsible integration of AI into our economies. We must work together to foster equitable access, advance gender equality in the digital economy, and encouraging responsible foreign investment that aligns with sustainability and international best practices. Climate change is a multifaceted challenge that extends beyond the environment, deeply impacting our trade, investment, and social and economic policies. It is time to move from evidence to action by harnessing trade and investment as powerful tools to drive sustainability and prosperity. We must advance these policies consistently with environmental goals through international cooperation and promoting new generational plurilateral agreements that reinforce the links between climate, trade, and sustainable development. We must also create the conditions to attract responsible investment, mobilize resources, and build partnerships that support our collective climate objectives. None of these are beyond our reach. OECD exists precisely to meet this kind of challenge, to turn complexity into coherence and vision into action. It stands as living proof of that multilateralism can still deliver, and that shared values, as enshrined in our convention and reaffirmed in our vision statement, can still unite us in common cause. My message is clear. Let us be bold in our choices. Let us not merely react to the global turbulence. We must shape the direction of its winds. Let us listen closely to each other. Let us innovate with purpose and responsibility. Let us continue to open doors to dialogue, to cooperation, and to creative forward-looking partnerships. We are a community of purpose and like-mindedness, a coalition of values and purpose. Our diversity is not a weakness, but rather a strength. We might have candid discussions and different views, yet our main objective is clear. We must advance to achieve common ground and to move forward together. The OECD remains a steady hand. In a world of uncertainty, reason, cooperation, and trust prevail. And here in Paris, we choose to move ahead together towards better policies for better lives. I leave you with these words from the OECD's founding vision. Let this be a beacon of what we can achieve when we come together, not despite our differences, but because we're committed to navigating them constructively. Let us choose progress over paralysis. Let us choose cooperation over confrontation. Let us rise to this challenge and lead by example. Let us seize this opportunity, and let us today lead the way. Thank you.
I now invite here to the left-hand podium the Prime Minister of Ukraine, Mr.
Dear Mathias, Mr. Chair, Minister Manuel Tovar, co-chairs, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to me to take part in the opening of this OECD Ministerial Council meeting. Ukraine greatly values the OECD as a vital platform for dialogue, policy development, and the exchange of the best practices, all of which contribute to long-term prosperity and economic resilience worldwide. Let me express my sincere gratitude to the chair of this meeting, Minister of Foreign Trade of Costa Rica, Mr. Manuel Tovar, for his personal attention to Ukraine. Thank you. I also thank the co-chairs, Australia, Canada, and Lithuania, and all our friends for their consistent support to Ukraine, to us. And thank you, Secretary General Cormann, dear Mathias, for your leadership and for the fruitful ongoing cooperation between Ukraine and the OECD. 2 years ago, right here in Paris, we launched the OECD program for Ukraine. It marked the beginning of a result-driven dialogue on our country's path to membership in the organization. Our goal is clear: to become a full member of the OECD and join the community of advanced economies. During the last 2 years, together with the organization, Ukraine has launched 23 initiatives and adopted 8 legal instruments. We have made tangible progress in fighting corruption. Ukraine has built a functioning anti-corruption infrastructure and has already implemented most of its national anti-corruption program, which is 80% aligned with the OECD standards. We have expanded digital governance to reduce corruption risks and their core. Tools like the Unified State Open Data Portal, the Prozoro public procurement system, and the Dream Digital Recovery ecosystem are already making measurable difference. We are also advancing broad deregulation. Around 2,000 regulatory acts have already been repealed across multiple sectors. Bureaucratic barriers for businesses have been removed, and key legal frameworks have been brought in line with the EU standards. We are also advancing in line with OECD standards on privatization and corporatization. Last year, public auctions for privatized assets saw their value grow by 50% on average, and overall revenues outperformed expectations by 250%. We completed a full triage of state-owned enterprises and defined a list of those where independent supervisory boards will be established. Procurement transparency has improved as well, with the share of competitive procedures rising by 30% last year. We are grateful to the OECD and to Secretary General Cormann personally for the strong recognition of our efforts, most recently expressed during his visit to Kyiv. The OECD latest economic survey of Ukraine highlighted our reform momentum in public investment management and the development of an investor-friendly business environment. The integrity review confirms substantial gains in our anti-corruption policies. As a result of our reforms, the share of Ukrainians who personally encounter corruption in everyday life dropped from 70% to 15% in recent years. This is a fundamental shift away from a post-Soviet paradigm toward a European model of governance. These transformations are laying the foundation for Ukraine reconstruction, future growth, and long-term prosperity. We are not returning to the past, we are building the future, an innovative, dynamic country integrated into the global economy and the international security architecture. I believe the OECD will remain a close partner on this journey. We will continue advancing reforms across all sectors at full speed, and we hope that in the next year, such meeting, Ukraine will be participating as a full-fledged member of the OECD. Once again, I want to thank the organization for its leadership. Together we can achieve more. Together we can bring peace closer, rebuild Ukraine, make the world safer, and open new horizons for our people. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
We now invite to the left-hand podium Mr. Don Farrell, Minister for Trade and Tourism for the MCM Vice Chair.
Thank you, Secretary General, for giving me this opportunity to speak today. I worked for many years in the Australian Senate with Secretary General Cormann. I saw firsthand the way in which he improved the lives of people in Australia, and I've been so proud over the last 4 years of seeing what you've been able to do with a little help from Australia on the international scene, and good luck for your continued work in that area. Minister Tovar, thank you very much. You've become a very good friend, and I look forward to seeing the work you're going to do over the next couple of days to do the things that you talked about in your speech. Prime Minister Shimhal, I haven't met you before, but a couple of weeks ago I had the honour of representing Australia at the funeral of Pope Francis, where of course President Zelensky was present. I got the chance there to meet the Australian Cardinal for the first time, who happens to be a Ukrainian, Cardinal Bishok, and my youngest daughter, in December, is marrying a Ukrainian boy on our vineyard in the Clare Valley in South Australia, and the Cardinal agreed to give them a special blessing. So I'm so pleased about that. And can I say that your fight is our fight, and that's very strongly the view of the Australian government. And welcome to all distinguished guests. I'm very honoured to serve as one of the Vice Chairs at this year's Ministerial Council meeting. And as I said, I want to thank Minister Tovar of Costa Rica for his leadership at this meeting. And under his chairing, we meet here to find new ways to guide our societies toward resilient, inclusive and sustainable prosperity. We do so at a challenging time, a very challenging time for the rules-based multilateral trading system that has underpinned decades of global growth. Our countries have relied on this system to provide a predictable framework for the exchange of goods, services and investments that have fuelled economic stability and prosperity. While the system has served us well, it's clear that it has not kept pace with modern economic challenges. How do we respond to these challenges will determine our future prosperity and the shape of the outlook of global trade. The OECD is an important platform for us to discuss these critical issues. The OECD's unrivaled analytical capability and its capacity for evidence-based policy guidance can help strengthen and support the global trade system and help us to identify creative solutions and shared problems. We must work together to reform and strengthen the multilateral system with the World Trade Organization at its core, building on the existing rules so it can respond to global challenges. None of us, our businesses, our workers, our citizens, can afford the unpredictability, the instability and the economic costs of a world without credible, enforceable trade rules. Multilateral rules-based trade can also help to achieve our net zero transition as part of a solution to global environmental problems. Our agenda for this Council is an important opportunity to consider these issues and other shared challenges, including on economic resilience. I have great confidence that the OECD's independent evidence-based analysis on policy responses to support economic resilience will help us to address vulnerabilities in our supply chains that can disrupt trade and harm our economies. Australia supports a more diverse OECD that collaborates more deeply with a broader range of partners. A diversified OECD membership carries benefits for all parties, providing us with a stronger OECD that is more globally relevant. During our term as co-chair of the Southeast Asia Regional Programme with Vietnam, we have seen the OECD deepen engagement with Southeast Asian economies. We welcome Indonesia and Thailand's accession processes and the potential for more Southeast Asian economies to follow their lead. The OECD Southeast Asia partnership is stronger than ever. We thank Vietnam for serving with us as co-chairs and look forward to handing over the baton to the Philippines and Canada. I'm confident the partnership between the OECD and Southeast Asia will continue to deepen and broaden in coming years under their leadership. I'd also once again like to thank Costa Rica for chairing this year's MCM and acknowledge my fellow Vice Chairs, Canada and Lithuania, for their support in making this meeting a success as we strive towards a world where economies are not just strong but resilient, where policies are not just effective but equitable, and where our future is not just secure but also sustainable. Thank you very much.
We now invite here to the podium Mr. Maninder Sidhu, Minister of International Trade for the MCM Vice Chair.
Prime Minister Ismail, Ministers, Excellencies and distinguished guests. Let me start by congratulating Costa Rica as this year's chair. Manuel, my friend, thank you to you and your team for your incredible work. Canada's pleasure to work with the other vice chairs as well, Australia and Lithuania, to support you. And thank you to Secretary General Cormann for hosting us. The world is undergoing major upheavals, and many of our member countries are facing complex and unprecedented challenges in trade and in other areas. And it is our goal to help inject global stability and predictability. That stability is being challenged on many fronts, from geopolitical uncertainty to the digital and AI revolutions to environmental threats. These issues touch nearly every aspect of our lives, creating the conditions for political, social, and economic upheaval that will require a collective effort to address. In this, Canada believes that the OECD's evidence-based analyst approach can fill in knowledge gaps to help us untangle complex issues and help us find solutions to find some of our time's most fundamental challenges. Over the next 2 days, we will touch on many topics. It is Canada's sincere hope that these meaningful discussions will better position us to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. We must remain strong and united. To paraphrase His Majesty King Charles III addressed to Canada's Parliament last week, the current global trade architecture is not perfect, but has helped to deliver the prosperity and stability for many people around the world. Canada remains committed to fair, open, and diversified trade, and we are very proud of our reputation as a strong, reliable, and stable trade and investment partner. However, we cannot rest on our reputation alone. We must continue working together, both domestically and with our international partners, to create new opportunities for our people, our workers, our businesses, and our economies. This is where the OECD can also play a vital role in reinforcing a strong, rules-based, multilateral system that continues to create prosperity and open doors to those who are typically underrepresented in global trade, like women, Indigenous people, and small business owners. In a few weeks, Canada will host the G7 leaders in Kananaskis, Alberta. Over the past 50 years, the G7 has evolved beyond its original economic focus to address a broad range of global issues. As 2025 G7 President, Canada is ready to build a coalition of like-minded countries who share our values and believe in international cooperation and the free and open exchange of goods, services, and ideas. And to demonstrate our leadership in addressing some of today's most pressing issues, from international peace and security to global economic stability and growth to the digital transition. We will also gather the G7 trade ministers to continue working together to foster a stronger global economy and prosperity. As we do, we will remain squarely focused on our goal of building resilient and strong economies and promote fair competition and predictable and stable global trade and investment, all of which support the work of the OECD. As you know, the OECD is looking to increase engagement beyond its memberships to regions across the world. As such, Canada is honoured to co-chair the OECD Southeast Asia Regional Program, SERP, for the next 3 years with the Philippines, a role that aligns with our Indo-Pacific strategy and our strategic partner with ASEAN. As we take over the co-chair role from Australia and Vietnam, who held it for the previous 3 years, we look forward to deepening and broadening our engagement in the region, and I am pleased to announce a $2 million funding envelope to support key initiatives of the SERP. In this capacity, Canada will be able to advance key themes of private sector development for inclusive and sustainable growth, sustainable infrastructure, and responsible business conduct, and help ASEAN members undertake important policy reforms. Southeast Asia is a dynamic region full of economic opportunities and challenges, and SERP offers a vehicle to address them based on globally accepted norms and best practices. Colleagues, we have a very few busy days ahead of us, and Canada hopes that all OECD members will be able to reiterate their support for their core tenets of this invaluable organization, which has served us well to date. Further, Canada hopes that we all leave this event with a better appreciation of each other's perspectives, including those of developing countries and relevant international organizations, as we seek to build stronger, more resilient and productive economies and a strengthened resolve to continue working together to address unfair and trade-distorting practices. None of us can do this alone. That's why Canada looks forward to working with the OECD members in a renewed spirit of shared values and consensus, building to create new opportunities, not just for Canadians, but for all of our industries, businesses, and economies. Because as His Majesty King Charles III so eloquently reminded us, we owe it to this generation and those who succeed us to think and act for the greater good of all. Thank you. Merci.
We now invite here to the podium Mr. Kęstutis Buydris, the Minister for Foreign Affairs for the MCM.
It is a great honor to be here today with you in the capacity of one of the vice chairs of the 2025 OECD Ministerial Council meeting. Let me begin by expressing sincere appreciation to Secretary General Mathias Cormann for your leadership, commitment to keep the OECD as a pillar of global cooperation and evidence-based policymaking. I warmly thank you, our MCM chair, Costa Rica, Minister Manuel Tovar, because Costa Rica and Lithuania share a special bond as we began our OECD accession journey together 10 years ago, back in 2015. It is therefore a particular pleasure to be vice chair of this MCM alongside with you, and I warmly recognize and thank our fellow vice chairs, Australia and Canada, for excellent teamwork. Thank you. Let me also take this opportunity to extend a heartfelt welcome and thank you, Prime Minister of Ukraine, Denis Shmyhal. Ukraine is not only bravely defending against unjustified and unprovoked Russia's war of aggression, it is also defending the very values that underpin this organization: democracy, rules-based international cooperation, rule of law, human rights. In this sense, supporting Ukraine is about defending our values as well. Lithuania firmly supports Ukraine. bilaterally and within the OECD. And we are proud to have initiated, together with Poland, the establishment of the OECD office in Kyiv and to support the ongoing OECD country program for Ukraine. They are not symbolic actions. They are practical, meaningful platforms for reform, recovery, and reconstruction. And they contribute significantly to Ukraine's accession to the EU. This is important. We urge all OECD members and partners to contribute actively to these efforts and to strengthen their support for Ukraine. Dear colleagues, this year's MCM theme, leading the way towards resilient, inclusive and sustainable prosperity through rules-based trade, investment and innovation, directly addresses the complex challenges and emerging opportunities of our time. The breadth of this agenda reflects the scale and urgency to the issues we face. The OECD is uniquely positioned to lead in this context. Its rigorous analysis, policy guidance, deep expertise in implementing reforms that foster growth, strengthen trust in institutions, and deliver real benefits to our citizens. I want to highlight the OECD's excellent work in today's challenging environment and the vital tasks ahead as we navigate a rapidly shifting geopolitical landscape, as it was already mentioned not once today. It enables countries to pursue stability and reform despite uncertainty. Let us not forget the core values that bind us as OECD members: democracy, human rights, market-based principles, and cooperation. The OECD's consensus-driven approach unites diverse perspectives around common goals. We should spare no effort in seeking common ground through dialogue and collaboration to shape better policies for better lives. At the same time, the OECD should be forward-looking and adaptive. It should continue evolving to face emerging challenges and seize new opportunities. This, among other issues, includes the responsible governance of artificial intelligence, managing the digital transformation that reshapes our economies and our societies, safeguarding information integrity, and strengthening economic resilience. The OECD is doing important work in these areas, but the pace of change requires us to do even more and to do it together. It was in this spirit that Lithuania and Japan co-hosted yesterday's MCM side event on economic security and resilience, aimed at fostering deeper cooperation and one of the most urgent challenges we face. It was a very productive discussion that underscored the need for coordinated action to reduce critical trade dependencies, strengthen supply chains, and promote diversification. It emphasized the value of like-minded cooperation and the role of multilateral frameworks and trade agreements in reinforcing economic security. The event also showcased the OECD's important contributions in helping countries navigate these challenges and craft effective, collaborative responses. Dear colleagues, in today's complex global environment, the OECD's role in extending its standards and best practices beyond its membership is more important than ever. By strengthening its global engagement, the OECD helps shape better policies worldwide and reinforces its position as a truly global standard setter. It is essential that OECD enlargement remains value-based and merit-driven. Countries that demonstrate a strong commitment to OECD principles and are willing to implement necessary reforms should be met with openness and engagement. Progress in current accession process is encouraging, and as a recent member, Lithuania stands ready to share its accession experience and support others on their path towards OECD membership. Regional initiatives are key to the OECD's global impact. We welcome the new strategic framework for Latin America and the Caribbean and support OECD's deeper engagement in other critical regions such as Eurasia and the Indo-Pacific. At the same time, the OECD strategy on development could become an important pillar of the organization's global outreach, helping the most vulnerable countries respond more effectively to emerging challenges. Dear colleagues, as we begin this MCM, let us reaffirm our shared responsibility to uphold the values of this organization, to strengthen the OECD's voice in the world, and to support each other in advancing reforms through policy advice and exchange of the best practices. Lithuania stands ready to contribute to these efforts as a committed member and vice chair of this MCM. Thank you all for being here, and I wish us all a productive MCM meeting. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me again in thanking our speakers, President Chavez Robles, Prime Minister Shmihal, Secretary General Cormann, Minister Tovar, Minister Farrell, Minister Sidhu, and Minister Boudries.
General, you can take a seat. Ministers, Secretary General Kao Kim Horn, distinguished guests, friends all, a very warm welcome to this handover ceremony of the OECD Southeast Asia Regional Programme. For over a decade, the Southeast Asia Regional Programme has been an effective platform for regional integration, cooperation and domestic reform. It has helped governments across the region liberalise investment, boost the development of the small and medium-sized business sector, build sustainable infrastructure, tackle tax avoidance and grow the digital economy. In parallel, since its establishment in 2014, the programme has supported countries across the region in more than doubling their adherences to OECD instruments and their participation in OECD bodies. The programme has also benefited from and deepened our very valuable partnership with ASEAN, now strengthened with our newly appointed OECD liaison officer to ASEAN based in Jakarta. As co-chairs since 2022, Australia and Vietnam made a significant contribution to deepening the OECD's mutually beneficial engagement in Southeast Asia. Vietnam has been a highly committed and proactive co-chair, co-hosting 2 successive ministerial forums of the programme in Hanoi in 2022 and 2023, with a focus on resilient supply chains and sustainable investment, respectively. Australia has been a key supporter of the OECD Council's historic decision last year to open accession discussions with Indonesia and Thailand, our first candidates from the region, while providing practical assistance through tailored capacity building for Indonesia's accession process. At this MCM, we look forward to receiving Indonesia's initial memorandum as a major milestone towards accession to the OECD. And about a month ago, Thailand co-hosted the 2025 Southeast Asia Regional Forum, where Thailand's government shared their continued strong commitment towards the accession process and their progress in preparing their initial memorandum. We are grateful to the governments of Australia and Vietnam for your commitment and achievements over these past 3 years. You are leaving a strong legacy for our incoming chairs. In Canada and the Philippines, we welcome you as the new leaders of the Southeast Asia Regional Programme for the next 3 years. You will help shape the OECD's future engagement in the region. You will lead us in supporting Southeast Asian countries closer alignment with the OECD standards and best practices through existing and new country programs and through tailored technical assistance projects. And we will support your ambitions to enable reforms for stronger, more sustainable and inclusive economic growth by leveraging OECD data, tools and analysis, including in areas such as sustainable infrastructure, digitalization and innovation. We look forward to continuing our productive cooperation through the Southeast Asia Regional Programme to build stronger partnerships with economies right across Southeast Asia. Thank you.
We now welcome here to the left-hand podium the Minister of Finance for outgoing Program Co-Chair Vietnam, Mr. Nguyen Thanh Thang.
Thưa ngài Manuel Tova, Bộ trưởng Thương mại nước ngoài Costa Rica, thưa ngài Mathias, Cormann, Tổng thư ký OECD, thưa các vị lãnh đạo, quý đại biểu, tôi rất vinh dự đại diện cho Chính phủ Việt Nam phát biểu tại lễ chuyển giao vai trò đồng chủ tịch chương trình Đông Nam Á CIAP của OECD. Đây là một sáng kiến chiến lược góp phần hỗ trợ cải cách kinh tế, thúc đẩy tăng trưởng bền vững và tăng cường kết nối giữa OECD và ASEAN, một khu vực năng động hàng đầu thế giới. Trong nhiệm kỳ 2022-2025, Việt Nam và Australia đồng chủ trì CIAP trong bối cảnh thế giới đối mặt với nhiều thách thức. Phục hồi sau đại dịch, chuyển đổi số và ứng phó với biến đổi khí hậu, bất bình đẳng, đứt gãy chuỗi cung ứng. Chúng tôi đã xác định 3 ưu tiên cốt lõi, đó là phục hồi ngắn hạn, cải cách trung hạn và tiến gần hơn tới OECD. Cùng 4 lĩnh vực ưu tiên đó là tự cường kinh tế, cải cách khu vực tư nhân, mở cửa thương mại đầu tư và chuyển đổi xanh, chuyển đổi số. Những nỗ lực này đã đem lại những kết quả nổi bật. Ký biên bản ghi nhớ lần đầu tiên giữa OECD và ASEAN, tạo nền tảng pháp lý và thúc đẩy hợp tác thông qua cơ chế nhóm công tác, chia sẻ dữ liệu và hỗ trợ kỹ thuật. Tổ chức thành công Diễn đàn Đông Nam Á tại Hà Nội năm 2022, mở ra cơ chế đối thoại cấp bộ trưởng thường niên giữa OECD và khu vực về chính sách và phát triển. Lần đầu tiên triển khai Prospectus, kế hoạch hợp tác thực chất trong các lĩnh vực như chuyển đổi xanh, số, tăng trưởng bao trùm và nâng cao năng suất. Việt Nam tự hào đã đóng góp vào sự phát triển của CIAP như một nền tảng hợp tác khu vực hiệu quả và lâu dài. Chúng tôi tin tưởng CIAP sẽ tiếp tục là động lực gắn kết ASEAN và OECD vì một tương lai xanh, số và nhân văn. Nhân dịp này, thay mặt Chính phủ Việt Nam, tôi xin bày tỏ lời cảm ơn các nước, đặc biệt là Nhật Bản, Australia, Hàn Quốc, trong việc hỗ trợ thúc đẩy hợp tác giữa OECD với Việt Nam và các nước Đông Nam Á trong thời gian vừa qua và trong thời gian sắp tới. Tôi xin chúc mừng Canada và Philippines tiếp nhận vai trò đồng chủ tịch CIAP. Việt Nam cam kết tiếp tục đồng hành, góp phần tích cực và xây dựng vì một Đông Nam Á phát triển bền vững, gắn kết chặt chẽ hơn với cộng đồng quốc tế. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn. Thank you. Merci.
We now welcome here to the left-hand podium the Minister of Economy, Planning and Development for incoming co-chair of the Philippines, Mr. Arsenio Mbalisacan.
OECD's Secretary General Mathias Cormann, Excellencies, esteemed colleagues and delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The Department of Economy, Planning and Development of the Republic of the Philippines is honored to accept the co-chairship of the OECD Southeast Asia Regional Program alongside our esteemed partner, the Government of Canada. This moment represents more than an institutional milestone. It reflects our shared commitment to advancing sustainable and inclusive development across Southeast Asia. Through this co-chairship, we welcome the opportunities to exchange experiences with regional partners and collaborate on shared priorities in key areas such as private sector engagement, digital economy, advancement, and innovation promotion. Canada has long been a steadfast partner of the Philippines in meeting its development goals. Canada's commitment to multilateral cooperation and sustainable development aligns closely with the Philippines' national priorities. We are committed to ensuring that the Southeast Asian Regional Program remains adaptive to evolving needs while building upon our established achievements. As co-chairs with Canada, we will foster deeper engagement between Southeast Asian nations and the OECD to focus on global challenges, particularly sustainable infrastructure, corporate social responsibility, and inclusive economic development. Recognizing Southeast Asia's unique climate vulnerabilities, the program will be a platform to tackle climate action through coordinated adaptation and mitigation strategies, green finance solutions, and knowledge sharing and sustainable development practices. The Philippines brings to this role a deep understanding of the region's diverse economies, valuable experiences in navigating complex development challenges, and an unwavering commitment to inclusive growth. We envision the program as a dynamic platform that not only facilitates policy dialogue, but also drives tangible improvements in the lives of our people. We thank the OECD, the outgoing co-chairs, Australia and Vietnam, and all member countries and regional partners for entrusting us with this critical responsibility. We also express our enthusiasm for working closely with our program counterparts, whose expertise and commitment to international cooperation are well recognized. To our OECD partners, Canada, and all the program stakeholders, we do not take this responsibility lightly. The Philippines is committed to ensuring that the Southeast Asia Regional Program continues to evolve as a responsive and effective mechanism for addressing the region's development priorities. Thank you for this honor and opportunity. We look forward to our productive partnership in the years ahead.
We now welcome here to the podium the ASEAN Secretary General, Mr. Kao Kim Horn.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start by expressing my sincere gratitude to Secretary General Mathias Cormann and, of course, Costa Rica as the MCM Chair for the kind invitation. It is a great honor to address you today at the handover ceremony of the OECD Southeast Asia Regional Program Chairmanship from Australia and Vietnam to Canada and the Philippines. I extend my sincere appreciation to outgoing chairs for their leadership in fostering a more collaborative, productive, and closer partnership between the OECD and ASEAN. I also warmly welcome the incoming co-chairs as they take on this important role. This marks a timely opportunity to sustain momentum and explore new strategic cooperation in areas of mutual interest. Since 2014, SERB has been instrumental in supporting ASEAN member states' domestic reforms through policy dialogue, evidence-based analysis, and multi-stakeholder engagements. The implementation of the 2022 OECD ASEAN Memorandum of Understanding, covering 35 priority areas, demonstrates our shared ambition to promote a more competitive, sustainable, and inclusive region. Notably, SERB has supported the region's efforts to enhance the business environment. Initiatives such as the ASEAN OECD Good Regulatory Practices Network at its 10th convening this year highlight our joint work in making regulations future-ready and responsive to emerging challenges. ASEAN's use of OECD's toolkits, such as the Trade Facilitation Indicators and the Service Trade Restrictiveness Index, has enabled more targeted reforms and transparency, helping member states integrate more effectively into global value chains. On sustainable development, the OECD continues to work closely with ASEAN to chart green and digital transitions. This includes the development of the investment policy frameworks that align with climate and digital priorities. OECD's participation at the ASEAN Green Jobs Forum, which was launched in 2024, embodies shared interest in preparing ASEAN's workforce for the future. Inclusive growth also remains central to our collaboration. OECD support for the ASEAN SME Policy Index 2024 and inclusive business forums has helped policymakers track progress and scale practices that empower SMEs, strengthen innovation, and promote long-term value creation for all. As we move forward, the incoming co-chairmanship comes at a defined moment to align SERB with the recently adopted ASEAN Community Vision 2045 and its accompanying strategic plans. I encourage the OECD to deepen its engagement with a broader range of ASEAN sectoral bodies to ensure OECD support remains responsive and forward-looking. Effective cooperation is not only about alignment, it also requires creativity and flexibility to navigate global uncertainties. In this context, I'm confident that Canada and the Philippines will stir our cooperation toward identifying new strategic priorities where the OECD can bring added value, particularly in advancing the implementation of our new vision, thereby reaffirming the enduring relevance of a rules-based multilateral trading system amidst ongoing global uncertainties. Finally, allow me to conclude by once again congratulating Canada and Philippines on the chairmanship and thanking all OECD members for their continued commitment to this meaningful collaboration. I thank you.
Now for the transfer of leadership, we invite to the stage the full membership of the Southeast Asia Regional Program Bureau, the representatives of Germany, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, the Netherlands, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, the United Kingdom, and the
The last time you will hear from me here this morning in this opening ceremony. But Minister Tovar, dear Manuel, ministers, ambassadors, colleagues, friends all, the strategic framework for Latin America and the Caribbean we are launching today builds on nearly 10 years of dedicated support and collaboration with the region through the Latin America and Caribbean Regional Programme. This partnership, anchored in our shared commitment to individual liberty, democracy, the rule of law, human rights and market-based economic principles, has already yielded significant results. And since the establishment of the LAC regional programme, as we call it, Colombia and Costa Rica have joined the OECD as members. Argentina, Brazil and Peru are all engaged in the process to become members of the OECD. And next week, we will launch the Paraguay country programme, and we had further expressions of interest for country programmes from other countries across the Latin America and Caribbean region. More broadly, adherences to OECD standards and best practices by our Latin American and Caribbean partners more than tripled over the past decades. In fact, there are now more than 300 adherences to legal instruments. Building on the positive and growing engagement, the strategic framework for Latin America and the Caribbean articulates our shared vision to guide and strengthen our future collaboration. It will help strengthen our Latin America and Caribbean regional programme, advance our existing and new country programmes across the region, increase the adoption and implementation of our standards and best practices, and expand our region-specific data and analysis. The strategic framework will focus on the key pillars of increasing productivity, enhancing social inclusion, strengthening institutions and governance, and ensuring environmental sustainability. Its ultimate aim is to help unlock the region's full potential, leveraging its extraordinary human capital and natural resources, including through greater economic formality, stronger integrity safeguards, better integration into global supply chains, as well as by advancing digitalisation and AI diffusion and the clean energy transition. Thank you to Costa Rica for its leadership as chair of this Ministerial Council meeting in achieving this key deliverable for this MCM. We very much look forward to working with the co-chairs of the Latin America Regional Programme, Colombia and Paraguay, and in fact all countries in the region and all OECD member countries in designing the implementation plan to realise this shared vision. I now invite Manuel to come and speak to us.
Good morning again. Today, we mark a milestone of deep and major strategic significance for both the OECD and the Latin American and Caribbean region. The launch of the strategic framework for the LAC region is more than a formal endorsement. It is a tangible expression of our shared commitment to renew and deepen our partnership. This moment is both timely and symbolic. As we approach the 10th anniversary of the OECD's LAC regional program, the framework offers not only a chance to reflect on a decade of fruitful cooperation, but also a platform to relaunch the OECD's engagement with the region, guided by fresh ambition and clear strategic purpose. This framework is a political tool, a common reference that brings greater coherence, visibility, and direction to the region's engagement with the OECD. It strengthens the region's voice within the organization. ensuring that the OECD standards and tools are more inclusive, more responsive, and better aligned with the complex realities and aspirations of our region. It also sends a powerful message. The OECD is not a closed club, but a platform for meaningful multilateral engagement, where ambition and reform are met with dialogue, support, and shared purpose. The Latin American and the Caribbean region is economically dynamic, geopolitically relevant, and marked by bold reform efforts and growing global leadership. The strategic framework adopted at this ministerial meeting reaffirms the OECD's global vocation and its commitment to multilateralism. It reflects our shared determination to engage more systematically and strategically with a region whose priorities and potential are vital to shaping a more inclusive and sustainable and resilient future. Looking ahead, the framework sets the stage for stronger leadership and renewed ambition in the governance of the LAC regional program. It will serve as a valuable tool to guide the work of the program's next co-chairs. We are confident that it will provide the clarity, structure, and momentum needed to make the program more results-oriented and policy-relevant in the years ahead. But turning political momentum into lasting impact requires more than declarations. It requires determination, delivery, and resources. Vision alone is not enough. A framework, no matter how well designed, can only be as effective as its implementation. That is why the next step must be the development of a credible, well-resourced implementation plan, one that is politically guided, technically sound, and financially supported. Costa Rica warmly acknowledges and expresses its deep appreciation to Japan for its financial contributions and steadfast commitment to the OECD Latin American and the Caribbean Regional Program. This collaboration highlights how members and partners can work across regions to strengthen the organization's impact. Latin America and the Indo-Pacific share common challenges and reform priorities, offering strong potential for deeper cooperation and mutual learning within the OECD framework. Let me conclude by expressing our deep appreciation to all of the OECD members, our regional partners, and of course the OECD Secretariat. This framework is a shared achievement, a testament to your leadership, your commitment to regional cooperation, and your belief in the power of shared values and strategic dialogue. Let us now ensure that it becomes a living instrument, one that delivers real outcomes and helps shape a stronger, more inclusive partnership between the OECD and the Latin American region, as well as the Caribbean. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now ask Secretary General Cormann and Minister Tovar to lead to the stage the co-chairs of the OECD LAC Regional Program, Colombia and Paraguay. The other Latin American members of the OECD, Mexico and Chile, all to the stage for a family photo, please. And the Latin American and Caribbean delegations who are welcomed to this MCM, Argentina, Brazil, Peru, and Uruguay, as well as the Secretariat of Economic Integration of Central America, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the Development Bank of Latin